After that rich response, Mary, what did John leave out?
Everything.
Well, I did want to talk a little bit about these Trump voters. 4/10 of them were hungry for change. 4 out of 10 was hungry for change. 7 out of 10 was unhappy with government, and government wasn't working for them. 6 out of 10 thought the country was on the wrong track. 2/3 of them said they were financially worse off than they were 4 years ago. Do these sound like people we know? These are people we know. It was not an uprising of our time and choosing, but it was an uprising, nonetheless. And they shocked the world, which is what they wanted to do when they got behind that curtain and closed that curtain. And, the shame is that Trump rode in on a wave of pain that he never had to suffer himself, right? But we know these voters, and when you look at those maps in the New York Times, where's all that red change? It's our neck of the woods. It's the Rust Belt. It's Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. Did any of us happen to mention to the Clintons that this might happen? That this was a worry? That this was a concern? I mean, how many people thought at some point in the past 6 months that maybe this was not the best candidate for this moment in time? Do you remember? And we had to bring that message over and over and over again. And I was honored to serve on the platform committee with Robert Craig here as Sanders delegates. And it was like pulling frickin' teeth to get these people to make sure that the trade platform of the Democratic Party was stronger than the trade platform of the Republican Party. Okay, it was pulling teeth behind the scenes. Actually, it was one of Robert's funnier lines in the whole meeting was their position on the Trans-Pacific Partnership was Democrats can disagree about the Trans-Pacific Partnership. I think that was the opening clause. And Robert stands up and said, I don't know any Democrats that disagree about the Trans-Pacific Partnership. He said, only in this room are there Democrats who disagree about the Trans-Pacific Partnership. And so we succeeded in strengthening that platform plank, and we had another knockdown, drag-out fight over Fight for 15. Why is this controversial? Okay? And we had other knockdown, drag-out fights, but did you see that ad from the Clinton campaign about trade? You remember that one? No. Did you see that ad about a Fight for 15 and the democracy movements that are happening all over the country, people fighting for higher wages and the successes they've had? No. 4 states raised the wage this election cycle. When our issues are on the ballot, we win. 2 states passed paid sick leave. Passed paid sick days, modeled on the Milwaukee success that we had a number of years ago that was rolled back by the Walker team. 2 other states passed really meaningful, significant campaign finance reform. South Dakota tackled the Kochs, and now Americans for Prosperity won't be able to run ads unless they say the top 3 funders of those ads. David Koch, Charles Koch, and U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Wouldn't that make a difference in campaigns and elections? Right? Mm-hmm. So when our issues are on the ballot, we win. And we have to take a long, hard look at the Democratic Party, at the structure that underlied these results, the superdelegate system, all those people who told us that they knew it was best and that it was her turn and not anybody else's turn, and many other things. I don't want to go too far into it now, but what my worry is that right now what we're hearing from folks in the Clinton camp is it was Comey. It was those last-minute emails. It had nothing to do with trade, had nothing to do with the upper Midwest, and I feel like we need a little bit more honest conversation than that. For better or for worse, a lot of these Trump voters are our people. 13 counties here in Wisconsin that voted for Obama twice flipped and voted for Trump. And so I feel like we have to continue this conversation with these voters, and that, let me not be too hopeful in a moment of darkness, but we know more about manufacturing than they do. We know more about fair trade policy than they do. We know that it's very likely the United States is going to be going into recession soon. Okay, we're sort of cyclically overdue for a recession. General Motors has already laid off 2,000 people. If he wants to have any hope of his signature issue, which is jobs, we have a lot of the answers. And so some of us will be taking to the streets to defend our friends and neighbors if he moves on immigration or any of his crazy shit. People are going to be out there. Sorry. People are going to be out there, and that's the right thing to do, right? But others of us have to hold him accountable for those jobs promises and do the big ticker tape up in front of the White House of how many jobs has he created now, and steer him in the right direction of the green jobs, the weatherization jobs, the jobs that we know that can be created without controversy, and not the crazy pipeline jobs that he might want to go with. So there's a lot for us to do, but I personally, one of the first markers will be the TPP. Is it really dead, or will Paul Ryan and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce get their way and try and get it through? If he says, forget it, and also starts to move on other of those, you look at his manufacturing policy, it's ripped straight from the left wing, okay? If he starts to move on those things, then maybe we can work with him. If he gives up on TPP, forget it. He can't take a signature issue like that and just throw it overboard. So let's keep our ears open and our fingers crossed, I guess.
Thanks, Mary. So, by the way, Mary had the amendment on platform committee that would have created family medical leave insurance and structuring it in a way, working with Ellen Bravo, a good Milwaukeean, that would have made sure that those workers who have no paid time off also benefited fully. And I supported her. I gave the second speech. We did not win, unfortunately. So that was the beginning of the whole process. It was like the second thing up in platform committee.